AJ.
I'm Sunny.
I'm Randy, and this is Bourbon Wine and True Crime, where three marvelous and extraordinary friends sit down once a week to drink and discuss true crime. Yes, we're doing 2 positive adjectives today because I've had a week.
What? I feel so warm and fuzzy inside, you guys.
Oh, that makes me happy.
Yes. 'Tis the season. You made me feel like mulled wine inside of my heart. So
Little bit of glue vine.
little glue vine right here. Just right here. Yes.
What are you guys drinking?
I'm drinking my Pinot Grigio, but I'm not ready to be in the Christmas mood yet, so I'm still drinking out of my Halloween wine glass.
Spooky season is a vibe all year round.
It's all year. I'm not getting rid of it.
No, I had my Halloween decorations up mid-September. We still have nothing up for Christmas. 0 things are up in my house.
It took us, we put up the Christmas tree in after Halloween, and it sat there unlit and undecorated for 2 solid weeks. I was like, and safe, there's nothing outside for Christmas. But
I have Cabernet
Yum.
in an insulated glass, and I don't remember what brand it is, but it's red. So in case you're wondering,
Awesome.
it's a red one.
I'm drinking my trusty vodka. My insulated.
We really should reconsider rebranding.
We could.
When you guys least expect it, I'm going to switch over to bourbon.
Well,
Ooh,
I did
on our
have
toes.
bourbon regularly.
You did.
For a while,
You did have bourbon regularly,
and I just haven't had bourbon for a while. So I need to go out and get some. I need to get a little bit of bullet. Balling on a budget with my bullet.
Right.
Back in the day.
Oh, real quick shout out to the Jewish community, because Hanukkah overlaps with Christmas again this year. Last day of Hanukkah is Christmas. So I'm excited.
Ooh.
I got my Hanukkah I'm putting one decoration outside, and it's Hanukkah decorations with the menorah.
I love it.
So I'm stoked.
Beautiful.
All right, so we're going to get right into it. Today I'm covering a case, and
What
AJ,
are we talking about?
So AJ, I took a page out of your book because you covered a page that you remembered the crime happening. I don't have the geographical location to it, but I do remember this, and I have a funny palate cleanser at the end, because today we were talking about Susan Smith.
Okay.
Do you guys remember her?
Yes.
That is a real unique name that makes it. It's of course. How could one
not know a Susan Smith?
Yeah, not know Susan Smith
or heard of a Susan Smith.
The Google searches were funny because it was like, Susan Smith is awarded this award, for something, and I was like, what? And it's like, it was a different one. She didn't get any awards. So Susan Smith was born on September 26, 1971 in Union, South Carolina, little town. Her parents were Lindsay Sue Vaughn and Harry Ray Vaughn. But this is one of those.
Ray Vaughn. Okay,
not Stevie Ray
stop
Vaughn.
it. I'll be quiet. It's
so
fine.
This is one of those you feel bad for the child, not the adult. So life took a hard turn for Susan when she was very young. Her father committed suicide when she was just 6 years old. Her mother, I read in an article that it was a really messy divorce, but I only saw that in like one place because mental health is complex. Her mother remarried Beverly Russell, who was a member of the local chapter of the Christian Coalition, and he was also a prominent member of the Republican Party in that area.
Many flags.
AJ, that's a nice segue, because shocking, he began grooming Susan at a young age and later admitted to molesting her as a teenager.
Good.
I'll get to why I think he was grooming her a little bit later. Susan attempted suicide at age 13 and at age 17. So keep those ages in the back of your mind. So at age 13, 17, and 18. At 18, it was said that she was sleeping with a married man, and then he ended the affair. Susan and David Smith were married and had 2 sons, Michael Daniel, born October 10th, 1991, and Alexander Tyler, born August 5th, 1993. These are the most adorable little babies. They are so cute. There was one picture where they're sitting on a chair together, and Michael has Alexander in his lap, and they're just like, he has the 90s bowl cut, you know,
Yes.
the overalls. It's really cute. So by all accounts, they had a very tumultuous marriage. Both of them were having multiple affairs. There was allegations of spousal abuse, child abuse. This is the 90s, so things weren't reported.
Yeah.
But David did admit later he said he didn't hit Susan. He just carried her out of the house and placed her on the porch, which I think that is what's the opposite of exaggeration? You're like,
A
Um,
minimization.
Sure. We'll go with that.
he's
But
downplaying it.
Thank you. Downplaying.
I just
No,
carried her out.
You don't like
Just-
minimization. You don't like my word. That's fine. That's fine if you don't like my word.
It's a lot of
Minimization. I would never-
Aluminum, cinnamon.
Oh, I like aluminium.
Aluminium.
Oh my goodness.
Aluminium.
I lost the spelling bee on the word cinnamon one time when I was in 3rd grade. Very upset.
2 N's, 1 M.
2 N's, 1 M. Yep.
Okay.
Burned in my memory forever. Failure. Anyway.
On October 25th, 1994, just a few weeks after Michael's 3rd birthday, Susan reported to the police that her car had been hijacked by a black man with her son still inside. Over the next 9 days, she made a lot of appearances on TV. I actually remember seeing this, tearfully pleading for their safe return, telling the boys, "Mama loves you." Story made headlines around the world, and it also stirred up a lot of racial tension because remember, we're in the South. Since Susan accused an unknown black man of the crime.
Which means at that point, now every black man is looked at as the one responsible for this crime.
Exactly.
Of course.
I went down so in the article when it's like stirred up racial tension, and I was like, what does that mean? Because I didn't want to do work at work. So according to an NPR article, Black people make up less than 14% of the US population. And this article is from this year. Black people make up less than 14% of the US population, but they account for 53% of all the people in this country that were falsely convicted, not accused, convicted of a serious crime,
God.
and then freed after serving at least part of their sentence. Black people are also 7 times more likely to be falsely convicted of 3 major crimes: homicide, sexual assault, and drug offenses. But
Oh my God.
it's bad. But speaking on drug offenses in particular, they are 19 times more likely to be wrongfully convicted of that type of crime. And this is like now.
Yeah.
So dope. So back to Susan. The cops
And
had
if you're
her.
an audio listener, she doesn't mean like dope cool. She's like dope.
Like,
Just
yeah,
so-
like,
yeah.
hey.
So yeah, like
Dope,
not
like
fucking
that
dope.
fucking
Yeah, like-
sucks.
like, love that. Really love that that's still happening. Great.
the world is on fire.
Excellent.
Yeah, if you, I think Sunny once lovingly described my sense of humor as deadpan sarcasm.
Very
I
loving.
can see that.
Very lovingly. No, it's
That should
fucking
be on
terrible.
your business card. Deadpan sarcasm.
I am retiring
Makes
soon.
Coffee nervous.
All right, so back to Susan. The cops had her number like immediately. She was first accused of killing Michael and Alexander the day after she reported the crime. According to a Washington Post article that I read, state police investigator David Caldwell told Susan in an interview, "I think you're involved in this thing." Susan began to change her story, saying at first that she was driving around with the kids and they were being fussy, and then later saying that they were driving around singing together. Caldwell said, and I quote, "Fussy or singing, fussy or happy, which is the lie? They were screaming, weren't they? And that's why you killed them." At this, Susan slammed her hand on the table, swore and yelled, "I can't believe you think that." Then she started crying, said she wanted to go home. She then stormed out and while walking down the hallway yelled, "I just can't believe they think I did it." You think
fuck.
the lady doth protest
If
too much?
the shoe fits.
The white privilege in this whole situation.
Oh,
is
dude.
Just
Just blame it on the black guy. That sounds
Disgusting.
great.
White, very involved in the Christian coalition. I meant to look that up and I forgot. Pillars of the community.
Yep. Oh, went to church every Sunday.
Every Sunday. So then she stormed out. I already said that. Another lie she was caught in was that she was carjacked while sitting at a red light on a desolate stretch of road with no other cars in sight. But the light she was talking about being stopped at would only be red if there was another car coming from the other direction. After an intense investigation and a nationwide search for the children, Susan Smith confessed to their murder on November 3rd, 1994. Susan says she drove to John D. Long Lake, put her car in drive, got out, and let it roll into the lake. One of the divers who found the vehicle reported seeing a small hand pressed against the glass of the car window. 14 months and 3 years old. I was going to say dope, but I got to stop saying that because someone's going to think I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, Susan Smith. And no, fuck her.
Awful.
Awful. All right. So let's talk about motive and the trial. Actually, real quick, let me backcheck. Something I found interesting is she says she let the car just roll into the lake. And like I said, police thought pretty quickly that she had done something. So they searched the bodies of water, but the math that they had was that the car would only get about 30 feet into a lake if it just rolled in there. But they found the car 122 feet from the shore. So that's a big difference. So I wonder if she like put something on the gas. They didn't find anything. I just thought that was interesting.
That's really far.
Yeah, 30 feet.
You'd have to be accelerating and not just allowing gravity to pull you.
Yeah.
You'd have to be going at a rate that could oppose the force of water and propel you forward.
Right.
Or be at a steep enough grade
Something
for that to occur and the car just go and then gets, taken.
Because this isn't the ocean. It's not like you have tides. They're going to be moving things.
Right. Exactly. So there would have had to have been something propelling the car at an accelerated rate.
Yeah.
Speaking of, on my time hop today, Dr. Botez came up from our physics professor who taught me all this physical. Oh my God. Physics? Did I say physical? I think I said physical.
You did. A little different.
Anyway,
yeah.
let's circle back. Circle back.
Susan never outright said why she killed her children, only that she wasn't in her right mind that day and she intended to kill herself. There are two potential motives that came out in her trial. One was so Thomas Finley, he was the son of a wealthy textile manufacturer. Susan had been having an affair with him until shortly before she murdered her children. So he testified for the prosecution. Thomas said that Susan was in a suicidal panic the day before her kids disappeared because David, her husband, was threatening to go public with a dark family secret. You want to guess what this dark family secret is?
Do we want to know?
I'll take a shot.
What is it?
That the hubby was involved in some sort of scandal in the church.
The husband?
Yeah.
Nope. Close. Real close.
Ooh.
Up until 2 months before Susan reported the carjacking and she killed her children, she'd been having an affair with her stepfather. 47. No. She's 23 at this time. 47-year-old.
Went there.
No.
So that's what I said earlier about him grooming her.
Uh-huh.
No,
and I even called it in the beginning.
You did.
I don't like it.
So he started molesting her when she was 16, which he admitted to. And we'll get to that later too.
I hate it.
I think the fact that he admitted to it, because the age of consent is weird in the southern states. I think he started a lot earlier. And the LA Times did report that he started at 15, but all the other sources say 16. And remember, Susan tried to commit suicide at 17.
13, 17, and 18.
Right.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, she was 23.
And she was so young. She got married young. She had 2 babies. She's not even done fully cooking in her frontal lobe. She's got all this trauma from childhood.
It gets worse with that later on.
No.
He is
good.
Fucking gross. And he's still married to her mother when all this is going on. So
she's aware.
Complicity.
I saw one report or one article that said that she found out about the molestation And then her and Susan decided not to go to make a report because they didn't want to.
Her and Susan.
And
I'm sure.
Susan.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm,
Or like the
Okay.
dad. He
right.
he gaslights brain, whatever.
But the
he's
mom-
groomed both of them.
The mom knew about it and she stayed with them.
He's groomed her too.
And she didn't
Yeah.
go to the police. Like that's
She's either a co-conspirator or
Mhm.
she's
a victim. as well.
equally abused in very manipulative, alternative, fun ways for him.
Yeah. It's all fucked up. But mother and stepfather are still married, living in this little southern town. Russell's still active in the Christian Coalition and state Republican Party politics. He worked on I can't remember which politician, but he worked on somebody big's like campaign because that Republican ended up getting roasted in some of the articles that I saw. Also, Russell was nice enough to hold out with raping Susan until after she was married.
Oh, good.
Are her boys his?
That's
Oh,
a good
God,
question.
I don't know.
I don't know. They didn't really do. I don't know if they ever got a paternity test. I couldn't find a picture of him. The boys do look like the dad, the David Smith, the husband.
Okay.
So, ugh.
How awful.
I feel bad for the child, not the woman. So Thomas Finlay testified about this. He was the one that brought it out in trial that Susan was worried that the thing with her stepfather was going on. I hesitate to call it consensual.
No, it's definitely not.
No.
It can't be.
No, I don't care. Yeah, no. So Russell admitted to this in the penalty phase of Susan's trial, right? Spoiler alert, she gets convicted. He was pleading with the jury to not give her the death penalty. Beverly Russell said, and I quote, "If I had known at the time what the results of my sins would be, I would have mustered the strength to behave according to my responsibility." Next sentence, get fucked. So that's one potential motive. The next one also came from Thomas Finley's testimony. Thomas and Susan had begun seeing each other around Christmas of 1993 after she told him that she was in the process of divorcing her husband, David. But then on October 16th, the following year, in the month that she killed her kids, she told Thomas that they weren't even separated yet. Thomas said, quote, "We agreed the intimate part of our relationship should be postponed until she was divorced." On October 17th, Susan gave Thomas a greeting card accepting their breakup and that, quote, "I will always love and care for you the rest of my life." She's still married.
That's
Whatever.
the most 90s thing you've said this whole podcast, that she sent him a greeting card.
A greeting card.
Not a snap, not a TikTok,
text.
not a text.
Worst
not a
Hallmark
voice memo,
movie ever.
ever.
Well,
That's the most 90s thing in here. Okay.
Yep.
Well, no, it's not the most, but it's right up there.
it gets more 90s because the following day, we're a week away from the bogus carjacking and the murders. Thomas gave Susan a letter that said, "You are intelligent, beautiful, sensitive, understanding, and possess many other wonderful qualities that I and many other men appreciate." Which, like, question mark? What?
Yeah. I and many other, like, is he collaborating with others?
Hey,
Is there a group?
what do you like
discussion
about
group?
Susan?
Yeah. They just all sign. They sign as a group.
That's so awkward.
They vote. They're like 4 out of 5 men find you intelligent. Like, is it?
So he went on to say, "You will without a doubt make some lucky man a great wife, but unfortunately, it won't be me. Susan, I could really fall for you, but like I've told you before, there are some things about you that aren't suited for me. And yes, I'm speaking about your children. The fact is, I just don't want children." So at first he says, "Let's put this on hold until you get divorced." And then he's like, you know, I don't want kids. This is a week before she killed her kids.
If this is all coming back to me now.
Yeah.
I knew it. Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
bro, you already have kids. You're talking to her.
Yep.
Yeah.
That already happened. That
Mhm.
ship sailed, man.
Because they were talking for
And
close
also,
to a
ew.
year. I mean, I would say, like, yes, you're allowed to say that you don't want to be involved with somebody that has children, but they've been talking since December of 93. This is October of 94.
Yeah.
So like you said, you should have had that conversation months
That
ago.
ship sailed.
Sailed.
Sailed. How many syllables can we put in sailed?
I mean,
7.
we're from
Several. So this sounds like an amicable breakup, right? He's
sure, a
good.
greeting
She's,
card, a letter, everything's fine.
That sounds
yeah,
good.
they're great. Nope. Other witnesses describe Susan's growing anxiety or her various ploys to get attention from Thomas. So Thomas testified in the days before the boy's disappearance, Susan claimed the following, and this is a list: that her husband was tapping her phone and having her followed, that she had an affair with Thomas's father, that she made up the affair to test his feelings for her, that she was considering having an affair with the husband of a good friend, that she had an affair with Beverly Russell, and David Smith was going to publicize it. I don't know if David ever said that. I couldn't find anything to say that he was
Like,
gonna.
It's like throwing what's something to the wall, see what stick. This was like a whole pot of spaghetti, the entire pot. She was just like, yeah, like just. And then none of it stuck because you threw all the water as well because you're an idiot. What are you doing? The
Actually,
whole pot of spaghetti.
You rubbed oil on the wall,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
tried to throw the pot with water. I don't know why it's not. There's nothing I could
There's
do.
nothing I
There's
could
nothing
do.
I could do.
That's right.
So, in their opening statement, Susan's defense attorney said, "This is not a case about evil. This is a case about despair and sadness." So you try to say she was depressed, she was dealing with all this childhood shit, which I'm sure she was. However,
Yeah.
my sympathy ends when you hurt somebody else.
Well, when you cannot murder, I don't care how annoyed you are. I do not care how annoyed you are. They are yours.
You made
and
them.
You made them. You made that.
And on
you
top,
have to keep it.
well, on top of that, there
You
was
get what
people,
you get and you don't throw a fit.
Exactly.
there was
Eat your
people in the community that helped with the kids, like people that testified. Like, I don't know how involved the stepfather and her mother was, but there was like another older couple that talked about spending a ton of time with the kids. So she had somewhere that she could have taken them. If she's like, I'm going to hurt
Yeah.
them, like, do you take them somewhere? If you're going to do
Right.
a murder suicide, start with the murder. No, I did that wrong. Start with the
Sure.
suicide. Sorry. You know what I mean.
Or neither.
Or neither is good. Mhm.
No.
Mm.
These kids were so cute.
Yeah.
Eh,
Man.
it's like, ah,
No, I'm just saying, if you're like
potato. It's
I'm not endorsing either one, but I'm saying if you're gonna hurt people and then kill yourself, just start on the back end. Because yeah, that's probably not gonna
Don't
go
hurt the
real well.
people.
Don't come at me. Their theory of the case is that Susan drove herself to the lake to kill herself and her 2 sons, and I am not making this shit up, but her body willed itself out of the car.
what she like floated up like the rapture was happening. Like, is that where she's like, oh no, I'm going up into the sky.
Because there's no reports that she was
There's
wet.
nothing I can do.
It's a tractor beam.
Ah!
Aliens. Prosecution obviously said that she wanted to start a new life with Thomas Finley. It took the jury just 2.5 hours to convict her of first-degree murder, but she did not receive the death penalty. And fun fact, she'll be eligible for parole in November of 2024.
Wow.
No.
Yep. I mean,
No.
I'm going to keep going.
No.
Because there's a lot more.
No.
She was originally incarcerated at the Camille Griffin Graham Correctional Institution in Columbia, South Carolina, when 2 correctional officers were charged with having sex with her, which she can't do.
Sure
I
can.
knew there was other stuff in her record. I remember
Mhm.
this. Yeah.
So after that, she
This
was
rap sheet is just
it just keeps going. She was then moved to the Leith Correctional Institute in Greenwood, South Carolina. In 2015, Susan wrote a letter to the state newspaper in Columbia saying she is not the monster society thinks I am. I am far from it. It has been hard to listen to lie after lie and not be able to defend myself. It's frustrating to say the least. The thing that hurt me the most is that people think that I hurt my children in order to be with a man. That is so far from the truth. Something went very wrong that night. I was not myself. I was a good mother and I loved my boys. There was no motive as it was not even a planned event. I was not in my right mind. The most hurtful thing is that people think you killed your kids for, not that your kids are dead, my girl.
This
Okay,
is like,
there was a point in her quote where she's like, I don't get a chance to defend myself. Your boys were completely
defenseless.
defenseless. And they had no one to defend them because
Nope.
their mother doing the
It was supposed to be.
anti-evolutionary thing and abandoned them.
They were strapped in car seats, and that's not even a good way to die.
No, they had a horrific death. They had a horrific death.
And they were
I'm
scared.
speculating, but
It
they were-
had to have been drowning.
they guess who they wanted in that moment?
Their mom,
Their mother.
and she watched it. And like
It takes a really, really certain type, like very specific type of evil to do that.
Oh, AJ, I just had a epiphany. I want to circle back to what you said earlier about like maybe the embankment was really steep. She rolled the car off of a boat ramp.
Mhm.
So she had time to, oh shit, like what the fuck am I doing? Let me go get them out of this shit. Like I'm out of my head. And then she like accuses a black man, puts the black community in like more danger.
Severe danger.
Like what if a black man had been arrested that fit the description?
That's it. That would have been it for his life.
She wouldn't have said shit. She would have divorced her husband and tried to run off with this other dude then she would have been the victim.
Mhm.
Like I have negative sympathy for her. So what has Susan been up to recently? Probably remorseful for murdering her 2 babies. Nope.
Probably.
Just this past October, FoxNews.com published an article saying that Susan and her boyfriend had recently broken up. I can't make this shit up. A South Carolina man started writing letters to Susan after he watched a documentary about her. Do you know what the documentary was about?
Her killing her children.
Her killing her kids.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna write to her. Greensboro, where she was incarcerated at, in Columbia, aren't super far apart. South Carolina is kind of a small state. So in a letter to this man, Susan wrote, "We're going to have amazing chemistry in person. I can't wait," because she thinks she's going to get paroled in 2024. "I can't wait to build a life with you. Leave the past mistakes behind and start fresh. Just you and me."
Did she dot her eyes with a heart?
Little hearts. Love Susan. The only time that she has shown any remorse for what she did is in the trial when that diver describes seeing the little hand pressed up against the window. That was the only time. Everything else, she just sat there. So this was kind of interesting. In a very tragic freak accident in September of 1996, 3 adults and 4 children drowned when they were visiting the memorial site for Michael and Alexander at John D. Long Lake.
Oh God.
I forgot about that.
This is wild. A group of 10 drove out to the memorial site and had their headlights shining on it. 5 people got out of the car when it began rolling toward the water with 4 of the children and 1 adult inside. And I know the numbers don't match up, but I couldn't find the name of the 7th adult. It passed between the memorial markers and knocked over a tree that was planted in honor of the boy's memory. It then slid down a steep embankment into 15 feet of water. The mother of the 3 children dove in to try and free the kids, but she also drowned, which is funny because that is like the fucking antithesis of Susan.
Yeah.
The father of the children was behind the wheel and the vehicle wasn't parked when it was recovered. So they think it was just like really shitty culmination of things. About the accident, one local man said, "It's like it's haunted or something. It keeps taking lives." And okay, this other article that I read, it went from 5 years to 10 years to 15 years after the murder. So it was like it's been 15 years since the murder. It's been a decade, 2000. So between 2005, 2015, I'm guessing probably 2005, David Smith, Susan's ex-husband, appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show. He said that he's doing well and that it's been a very long, tough road, some severe depression, but I'm still here. I'm making it every day. David hasn't spoken to Susan since she went to jail, but he said, sometimes I want to tell her how much pain she's put me through, but that will only give her the satisfaction that she still crosses my mind. I do want her to know that she almost killed me, but look who's still standing. He has 2 more children now, but he's really stayed out of the limelight in recent years. So that is the story of Susan Smith.
Jesus.
I hope.
I have very vivid memories of that.
Mhm.
Well done.
So here's my funny palate cleanser. So this was
Hold
the
on. I want to snap, but I've been sitting like weirdly on my hands, so it's like meh. I can do
that.
with one.
clap in sign language. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
So 1994, my little sister was very young, and we lived in a really, really shitty apartment complex. So we're on the ground floor. We'd always use the back door to go out. And you know how apartment complexes, if you go out the front door, everything looks the same. So,
Yes.
you know, my mom was, I think she'd worked late. Me and my brother are at school. And my little sister, who is, I think she was like 5 at the time. And this is after Susan Smith had already been convicted. The whole story came out. She manages to unlock the front door, goes up the steps, and then walks out. And once that door closed, she didn't know where she was because everything looked the same. She's 5. So she's wandering around her pajamas barefoot in this like not a good neighborhood. She happens upon like the right person, this old grandmother, and she's like has this sweaty fistful of dandelions, and she's crying, and she's like, I can't find my mom. And she was wandering around probably about an hour before she like happened on this, this door. So in that hour, my mom wakes up, sees the front door open, sees my little sister is gone, and calls the cops.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know where she went. The cops show up, 2 of them, and they're like, hey, so you're a single mom? And she's like, yes. So I need to find one of my kids. And they're like, I bet you that's really stressful. Maybe you just snapped. And they sat there and like pretty much interrogated her.
No.
Yeah. Because this had just happened. And my mom's, obviously she's a white woman living in like not a great neighborhood, single mom, waitress, 3 kids, whole 9 yards. If anybody's like, yay, single moms, not her. She's a fucking monster. But so luckily,
But not this time.
not this time.
Not this particular instance.
So my sister wanders up to, like I said, just the right person, this really sweet older woman. She takes my sister to the manager of the apartment complex, and we were late on our rent a lot. So the manager knew all of us because we'd be like, please don't evict us. We'll pay soon. And so she recognized my little sister. And so she takes her back to the house. She's filthy, just walking around in pajamas with the little sweaty fistful of dandelions.
Oh,
And my mom is still in there talking to the 2 cops when the woman walks up, like my little sister in hand. And she's like, hey, like she got out of the apartment. She was wandering around the complex. My mom, I wasn't home, but my mom said she, like, of course, runs over, grabs her. She's hugging her. She's crying like, oh my God, you're safe. Like, what the fuck did you do? Like, how did you get out? So she looked at the cops and was like, get the fuck out of my house. That was the start of a tumultuous relationship with the police department of that county. Sorry if you encountered her. So that's what I was saying earlier, AJ, of how like, oh, I remember this case. And it's kind of like in a very small way tied to.
That's pretty significant.
I would say that's significant.
Yeah.
There was
That's
after
very
that,
significant.
like the little hook locks, just the really simple ones. There was one at the very top, like top corner of the door forever after that.
Lock the door.
No clue how she got out. Because I mean, obviously it was locked, but it was just like, kids are weird. But so that's my own palate cleanser after a very, very shitty story.
Wow. I was not prepared for that.
Well,
tonight.
then, I mean, there was the time that my small one, we were walking and he literally ran around the corner, and then I walked right after that, and then he was just gone. And I was like, what? Where is what? And this is when we had first moved here. And so we're in an apartment complex. And I'm like, it was 3 seconds. It's just a regular walk. It wasn't like he was way ahead or anything. It was just
Yeah.
like a regular. gone. And I'm like, ah! And so I'm calling. I end up getting like all these people involved. And fortunately, we had been practicing our address recently. So he went and found somebody in uniform. He's 4. He went and found someone in uniform and he's like, see, now I don't even remember what our thing was. He's like, I live here. And he gave the number of the apartment. And then they brought him back. It was the weirdest thing. They're like, he knew his address. I was like, oh my God. But I had the entire place. There were all these teenagers running around trying to find him. And
Where did he go?
Oh my
Like that
God.
fast?
I don't know. I still don't know. He just was like, oh, I'm not with anyone that I know anymore. I should probably find some help.
That
Found a
is
security
horrific.
guard and then
that is-
gave her his address. And then that was it. So just, yeah, it was like, but most terrifying 15 minutes of my life. So
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining him just walking up like she's just standing there minding her own business and she feels like the tug on her pants. Like,
He's
I
like,
live
"Hey."
here. Like, oh, I guess we're going there now.
It's right there.
guess that's what's happening next.
You know, as
So-
a kid, I was left at daycare more than one time by my mom, where the daycare lady had to take me to her house. And
What?
yeah, it was like a normal thing. It was like, oh, I forgot Andrew. Oh, I forgot the middle child. We got to go back.
There was the time that
Are you surprised?
there was
Both
the
of
time
you have met my
Randy-
mother. Are you
Randy
surprised?
left my child at daycare.
Dude, I
was an hour and a half away.
had like planned this. I had stuff for dinner. I'm like gonna get so I think it was my first time watching Sawyer by myself. And something happened at work. I ended up working late. Yeah, I'm talking to people on the phone about work stuff, and Sunny is just blowing up my phone. I'm just like, what is going? And I was looking at it, and then I was like, I was supposed to get the child. And I hit answer. I didn't have a car seat because obviously, so I had to go all the way to their house, get the car seat, go all the way back. And Sunny's like, yeah, so they charge, it was like $50 a minute that you're late.
Yeah, it's something insane.
I did the math and it was like over $1,000 at that point. It was, and I was just like, I just ruined my friendship. I scarred this child. I am a terrible person.
It was like, I was crying
Oh, and
at work.
we lived a good like 30 minutes apart, I
Mhm.
think. And it was after that, man, I set alarms. I said,
Lot
and of
of-
course, Sonny's like texting me 10 minutes, like every 10 minutes, 2 days before. It's like, hey, you remember, right? You remember? Like, I will never forget again. And then they ended up not charging you, which is dope.
Well, we were good. Like we had never, we had like there had never been anything.
Yeah.
We'd been there for years. So I was like, please.
This is a
still love
valuable
us.
lesson for everybody listening. Teach your children your phone numbers and your addresses. Okay.
Yes.
As soon as they can talk, start teaching them that. I have very grown students who don't know their own phone number or their parents' phone number
Oh,
or
'cause
their
of-
address. They
'cause of
don't
cell
even know where
phones.
they live. It's like, it's no longer a thing. So yeah, that's a victory for Sunny right there.
That is so cute.
Excuse me.
And for Randy, that's a fucking victory too. He didn't die.
Excuse me, I live here.
And on that note,
Thank
We
you for
got-
listening.
yes, Sunny's got to go be with her tiny psycho.
Yes.
Yes.
So follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Please leave a positive review, tell your friends, and we will see you next time.
Bye bye, everybody.
Love you.
Bye.